Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I'm Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Hey, we are going to talk again today, America, about suppressors and Form 4s. Why is that? Well, because if ever you thought that maybe you might want to think about getting into an NFA item, you're ready to dip your toes into the NFA water, this might be the best time ever. We're going to explain why the ATF has significantly shrunk down its turnaround time. We're going to go through some numbers to show that I think a lot of Americans are waking up to the fact that this might be a really good time. And we're going to go through some of the specifics so you can understand that if you want to do this and you want to do it in the most time-efficient manner, how it can possibly be done. So today, let's spend a few minutes and let's talk about, seriously, America, this is the best time ever to get a suppressor. Okay, before we get going too far down the road we're going down, proud to announce that this video is being brought to you by Right to Bear. That's right, legal protection for self-protection. Listen, good lawyers aren't cheap, cheap lawyers aren't good. You're not truly prepared unless you have Right to Bear back you. You will always get an attorney-answered hotline, so you will always have a confidential phone call. There are no cap limits for either civil or criminal defense. This covers all forms of self-defense. So from a fist to a firearm, from a fat lip to a dead body, you are covered, and you will have some of the nation's most passionate 2A attorneys in your corner fighting for you. And right now, if you visit my friends at protectwithbear.com and you use the promo code WGL, you will receive 10% off. Listen, you need to protect yourself so that you can protect them. Visit my good friends at protectwithbear.com. Okay, we're going to be talking about suppressors and Form 4 applications. Now, the data I'm going to rely upon comes from an article I found on ammoland.com. If you're not subscribing to ammoland.com, do yourself a favor and do it right now. They do a fantastic job of keeping you up to date on what's going on in the 2A world. The article, however, was written by a gentleman named John Crump. And listen, if you're not plugged into John Crump, you need to do so right away, because I don't know anybody else in the 2A world that breaks more news stories than John Crump. This guy is one of the most plugged-in people in the industry. So we're going to link up all of his stuff down below in the description box. Do yourself a favor and follow him. Now, you guys might recall this video right here, and I was like, man, the turnaround time on Form 4s has decreased significantly, and we explained on that video why the ATF had basically reversed the system, allowing this log jam to actually kind of break free. Now, I know some of you are still stuck in the old system and you're on 10, 11, 12 months since that, but for those people who've gone out and purchased suppressors in the last few months, I can assure you almost every single one of them has their Form 4 approved already. Now, we said at the start of this thing that I think America is kind of getting wise to the fact that this might be the time to do it, and you should probably get wise to it as well if this is something you're willing to explore. Take a look at these numbers from the ATF, for example. You see, in July of 2023, there were 28,414 Form 4 applications. However, in June of this year, there was 53,186 applications, or a 94% increase. And rumor has it that the ATF in the month of July processed somewhere over 90,000 Form 4 applications. Now, understand that a Form 4 doesn't mean that every single thing is a suppressor. There can be Form 4s for a lot of other things, but I would be willing to bet that a large majority of those Form 4 applications, in fact, involve suppressors. Okay, America, so let's say you're like, wow, okay, I'm thinking I'm ready to do this. How should I do this? Well, if you want to do it in the most time-efficient manner, right now, the current quickest turnaround times is to purchase a suppressor and acquire one on a Form 4 as an individual, okay? So if you want to have this thing approved in a matter of days, that's the way you're going to need to do it. Now, let's talk about gun trust, and let me make a couple of other disclosures. Number one, like I said, I'm not being paid by Silencer Co. or Silencer Shop like that. So even though they may end up getting some business out of them, good for them. I'm just telling you what's going on. The gun trust lawyers are going to hate me for this, okay? But I will point out to all of them that, hey, I too write gun trust. I'm just being honest with all of you. Let's say you want to accumulate this item as a gun trust, okay? If you're going to use a boilerplated single-shot trust means it has one item in it that many of these reputable online companies can provide for you. The truth of the matter is, and the gun trust people don't want me to say this, but the truth of the matter is, yeah, they do the job. Are they the best trust in the world? No. But do they accomplish the goal? Yes, they do. And here's the thing. If you're going to accumulate it through a single shot boilerplated trust, turnaround times on that is somewhere around 90 days, which isn't crazy long. And it really should be much shorter than that, because the ATF should have reviewed all of these gun trusts. They've seen them for years and years and years. These companies don't change the language. If the language works, why would you go out and change the language? You know, there's only about 4 or 5 data points that actually change on a boilerplated trust. You know, the name of the grantor, the name of the beneficiaries, the name of the trustee, and a couple other pieces of information. So again, if you're going to accumulate on a single shot boilerplated trust, you're probably looking at somewhere around 75 to 90 days. Now, if you're going to do it through a customized trust that some lawyer like myself or somebody else drafted for you, one, do you have a good trust? I'm assuming you have a fantastic trust, okay? But now you're going to be backing yourself up to more of the normal wait times that we saw a couple years ago, because that trust is going to have to be manually reviewed by somebody at the ATF, and God only knows when they're actually going to get to that. Now, if you're willing to spend a couple of $100 extra bucks, here's the way to legally work around that. Go ahead and acquire the item as an individual on a Form 4. You'll have it approved, and once it's approved, you can use that item however you wish. At that point, if you're willing to pay the extra $200, and I know some of you don't even want to give the first $200 to Uncle Sam, and I get where you're coming from. So this is just an if this fits for you, you could then transfer the firearm into a trust, whether it's a single shot trust that you had somebody establish for you, or it's a more thorough, complex trust. You can transfer it in, but understand you will be paying the $200 tax stamp the minute it transfers into that trust. But America, here's the other big reason why you should do this. You see, if any item which is currently in the NFA has no business being in the NFA, well, it's suppressors. Because they are not firearms, they are not weapons, and actually they make our firearms much safer for ourselves and for everybody else around us. The other thing that we need to understand about items in the NFA is that government at the current time would certainly try to justify their restrictions as being dangerous and unusual. Now, I don't believe there's anything dangerous about taking a very loud object and making it more quiet. Government may disagree with me about that. But if we know that 200,000 stun guns, as announced in Catano v. Massachusetts, constitutes in common use, and I'm willing to bet there are far more suppressors than that currently legally in the market, then we as Americans could actually go out and turn the suppressor into an item which is in such commonplace that it can no longer fit within the National Firearms Act. So, bottom line, if you ever thought about dipping your toes in the NFA waters, if you ever thought, maybe I'll get myself a suppressor, now is the best time ever in the history of this country to do that. Listen, we're going to go ahead and link up the story from Ammoland down below so that you can geek out on it for yourself. Make sure you give them a follow. Make sure you give John Crump a follow. Maybe you got more questions about this or something else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights. You guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now, but if you don't, that's okay. That information is down in the description box. Maybe you got an idea for a video we should be doing here. If you do, go ahead and click on that link. Give us your idea. It's probably better than anything we've come up with. Maybe you just want to subscribe to our monthly newsletter. All the information on how to do that is also down there in the description box. And then finally, and most importantly, America, let's everyone remember that part of being a lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching. Stay safe.